Hello all. It turns out this conversation around the true nature of Englishness just isn't going to go away, and the liberal world is going to have to accept eventually that the English people exist. Now this is all in reference to Matt Goodwin's conversation with Michael Gove, where he said that the English people do exist as an ethnic group, and good for him that someone like him can say that. Shows that the Overton window is moving. It's not going to ruin his career. However, saying such things is still very much a red rag to the liberal bull. Case in point, here's John McTiernan. Now I didn't know who this guy was, but apparently he was a political secretary for Tony Blair, so very much at the epicentre of Blairism. He says in response to this, the concept of ethnic English is truly evil. Now he said so much there in only 8 short words. We could start with the big one. He calls the ethnic English a concept. Of course, we're not a concept as a people. This is very much the social studies thinking that developed with the British School of Cultural Studies in the 70s and 80s. Very fringe under Stuart Hall, picked up by the Blairites as they went right economically and tried to pay that back to the left by going really woke. And then in turn, that's been maximised, amplified to the whole country, where Englishness is seen as a sort of a conceptual idea that anybody can become if they, drink tea and watch cricket. Now, the middle classes historically bought into this. It was seen as loving and compassionate and modern and so on. Really, it's just propaganda for our globalist overlords. But it immediately comes unstuck when, say, someone doesn't like cricket or doesn't drink tea, yet their family have been here for thousands of years. Are these people not English now? Of course these people are English, but the liberal system refuses to acknowledge them because to acknowledge there's a biological reality to the nature of Englishness undermines their whole globalist multicultural project. And to be clear, there's nothing innately evil about the English biological identity. It's neutral, it's a fact of life, like human beings have eyes and hands, it's just the way it is. Now, neutral realities can be used as vectors for evil purposes. Say if someone said, look, I'm from English stock and you're from, Paraguay, and I hate you, I'm going to kill you for that reason. But nobody is doing that. And ironically, the only evil way the English identity is being used is by people like John McTiernan himself, who are denying the very reality of the English as a group as they get swamped by the hordes from the third world and becoming made a minority in their own country. But McTiernan is a microcosm of the liberal system on the whole. After all, the liberal system erases European identity, it denies we're indigenous, it denies we even exist as a group. And ostensibly they do this because they're so compassionate and kind-hearted and wise and enlightened, and they want the world to move beyond these ethnic barriers that have caused so much damage in the world. Yet as we've found out many, many times over by now, this is all a big lump of horseshit. That's because they're more than happy to engage in ethnic identity when it suits them. In reality, all they really do is hate the English. Case in point, while John thinks the concept of the ethnic English is truly evil, he's clearly displaying a bit of cognitive dissonance because he apparently believes in the existence in the state of Israel as a Jewish homeland. Surprise, surprise. Now, I'm sure we're all aware of this, but to be a Jew, you need to be born to a Jewish mother, i.e. there's a biological reality to Jewishness. And before some actually crops up, I'm aware there are some people who do convert to Judaism. However, that number is infinitesimally small. The Jewish community try very hard to keep people out, and on top of that, those who do convert normally marry in. And this is the double standard that many of us Europeans are getting absolutely sick of. John McTiernan would never speak this way to a Tamil Brahmin in India, to an Arab in Saudi Arabia, to a Yoruba in Nigeria. He'd see that as evil. But why do progressives do this? Well, on the one side, I think you have the naive people, those who bought the sort of liberal propaganda of the age. They think they're being compassionate and kind and loving by embracing multiculturalism. In reality, they're being the exact opposite, but they're a bit naive. On the flip side, you have the people like John, who seem to me to be driven by a sort of ethnic animus. Case in point, here's John having a spat on Twitter saying he's Irish. When someone says, where were you born? Because he was born in London, you aren't Irish. He says, I am Irish. Someone says, you're English. He says, mate, a Londoner, never English. So it seems John is a complete hypocrite. He'll call the concept of English ethnicity completely evil, but then acknowledge his own reality of an Irish biology when it suits him to hate the English. This is actually quite a big problem with our Celtic cousins. I am aware there are many wonderful Celtic people who totally get what's going on, but it does seem to me that some Celts have defined their identity by hating the English, and this in turn has given them the supposed kinship with the quote oppressed people from around the world. And what this means in turn is that their own identity is being usurped by the liberal system. The English are told we're evil, we don't have an identity, so accept multiculturalism. The Irish, the Scots and the Welsh are told, well, you were oppressed like these people, so you may as well all muddle on together. The end result is we all lose our identity. And the whole thing is absurd because the modern English are more than willing to accept the wrongs of history. We don't hate the Celts at all. We have a bit of needle around the Six Nations, which is a bit of fun more than anything else, and most of us have a Celtic great-grandparent or uncle anyway. Yet as much as many of the powers that be talk about building bridges, not walls, they do want to keep some of the historic enmity alive because it serves the purposes of globalist liberalism. Now, if you think I'm over-egging the pudding with regards to the state that the English people are in, here's some data from the aforementioned Matt Goodwin he got from the ONS. More than 1 in 3 babies in the UK are now born to a woman who were not born in the UK. The top 10 countries are places like India, Pakistan, Nigeria, and so on. On top of that, 84% of all babies born in the City of London have either one or both parents who were born outside of the UK. Also, here's a German demographer stating that by the year 2100, there'll be 86 million people in the UK. Do you think they'll be English, Scottish, Irish and Welsh? And all of this assumes, as the globalist liberal world tends to with its eternal line-go-up politics, that the UK will even be stable by the year 2100. I think it will have fallen apart by then, many decades before. I mean, we're already experiencing an exodus of high net worth individuals who are going to other countries, which essentially means we're now an economic zone full of third worlders, which is poor. So in answer to the fundamental question, the reason why John McTiernan and the rest of the Blairites and the progressives hate the ethnic English is because our very existence acts to undermine their worldview, which exposes it as essentially a castle made of sand. Now, as a side note, much to the chagrin of many out there, it's why I often say you shouldn't be angry about the state of the world. We have to root those demons out, otherwise you'll end up like John. It's quite clear that John identifies with his Irish background and uses that as a vector for his anger with the English. That turns into there's no such thing as the ethnic English people and so on, but also I'm part of an oppressed group like the other people around the world, and that feeds into globalist liberalism. The only problem for people like John is yes, your worldview will destroy the English, but it will destroy the Irish and everything else too. This is why I've been saying of late that we have to move on from historic enmity as well as move on from the political paradigms we function under. The left and right debate is over. We have bigger fish to fry now. And if we stand together, we could have a shot at re-establishing, reawakening the beauty of Western culture and passing it on to our descendants in a good shape. It's either that or everything falls apart. I know which side I'm on. Do let me know what you think down below. Do consider subscribing to the channel if you're new.